Here's a plane that can do what no aircraft has ever been able to do before. It is maneuverable as a fighter and can fly above the speed of sound at more than 700 miles per hour. Yet it can land and take off vertically just like a helicopter. It can even hover in flight. An astonishing performance by an aircraft which has introduced a new concept into flying. It's called the Kestrel, after the bird that can hover for minutes before swooping to attack its prey. This all-British plane is so revolutionary that a special international squadron was formed to assess its capabilities. With a British commanding officer, the Kestrel squadron was made up of American, German, and British pilots and ground crews. The squadron operated from an airfield in Norfolk, which was the scene of regular briefings during this stage of a project that may play an important part in the defense of the West. The ground crews of this three-nation squadron, who serviced the Kestrel's single jet engine and airframe, had been through a special course of the plane's makers before the squadron started flying. Nine of these new aircraft, which first flew in 1960, were sent to the squadron for a 6-month evaluation program. This program entailed some 1,250 takeoffs and landings, and the 1,001 details that go into operating an aircraft that can fill the role of bomber, fighter, and helicopter. The Kestrel costs more than £2 million. Britain, America, and Germany shared the bill for the 9 aircraft. The 10 pilots, 4 American, 4 British, and 2 German, chosen to fly them, were all experienced in jet planes or helicopters, or both. Like any other aircraft, the Kestrels can operate from a fully equipped airfield with a long runway. But once airborne, the planes are not dependent on that long runway for landing. A mobile unit can go out and set up an improvised airfield on any suitable grass field about 200 yards long. With the mobile control tower directing landings, the Kestrel can be brought in by the pilot deflecting its jets downwards for a short landing. Speed, 25 to 30 miles per hour, landing in about 150 yards. Where there's any danger of soft ground, a metal or plastic pad is put down and the Kestrel lands on it vertically. This is made possible by the adjustable jet nozzles on the side of the Kestrel's fuselage. With the nozzles pointing backwards, the plane is a high-speed fighter. With nozzles turned downwards, the aircraft hovers on its own jet thrust. This semi-prepared airfield now becomes a base from which planes can be serviced, refueled, armed and made ready for orders from headquarters, which could be 1,000 miles away. On these trials, records were made of every landing and takeoff. Orders come through and this jet jumps off its grass field for action. Others do a short-run takeoff. With the aircraft on their way, the temporary airfield can be dismantled to move to another site. A Kestrel can also be detailed to an even smaller landing area, an unprepared site manned by only 2 ground crew. Having camouflaged their vehicle, they bring in the plane for a vertical landing in a clearing in a wood. Kestrels would come to such a site fully fueled and armed. One of the site ground crew would be a radio operator, linking with the base and airborne planes in the vicinity. The other would assist the pilots and supply cartridges for starting the jet engines. Once the plane is down, it taxis in under the trees to leave the landing area clear and to await orders. On this single spot, with only the 2 ground crew, more Kestrels can be brought in. A smoke bomb indicates wind direction. The biggest problem for the pilots was locating these unprepared sites from the air. If they were easy to locate, they would be valueless from a strategic point of view. A flashing lamp as the plane approached was one answer. And another high-speed strike aircraft is tucked away out of sight in an innocent-looking wood. The strike is on, and the planes trundle out from under the trees under their own power. With a wingspan of only 22 3/4 feet, it's not difficult to maneuver in these confined spaces. Onto a pad, nozzles deflected downwards, and the pilot opens up the jets. While hovering, the Kestrel can turn in any direction and even go backwards, and yet it can climb faster than the modern jet fighter. The flight of Kestrels can get away from this small clearing in a matter of minutes, and once airborne, their high speed enables them to make surprise low-level attacks. The Kestrel is certainly a unique aircraft, and this 3-nation squadron was a unique approach to assessing its value. After 6 months of flying, working together, and depending on each other as a team, these 130 men from places as far apart as Philadelphia, Sheffield, Hamburg, Ohio, Crowborough, and Tennessee did more than learn all about a new and unusual aircraft. They learned a lot about each other.